on the queen side, and he doesn't. He's not ready to defend these pawns quite yet. So the game continues. C takes b5, a takes b5. So black elects to defend the a6 pawn, defend the a pawn, rather than defend, for example, rather than to defend the c pawn if he captures this way, and then he'll be left to defend a pawn on c6. So, and here black protects the a6 pawn, rook d6, b takes a6, b takes a6. And this is a kind of position which may be defendable by a computer, but from a practical viewpoint, it is near impossible to defend against someone of Karpov's technique. And here Karpov shows very nicely how to win with even this really slight weakness that black has, which is his pawn on a6. So he starts off with queen a4, queen d7, and now he makes a critical choice to trade off queens. He judges that this endgame will be, will at least still be very much better for white even after the trade of queens. Queen takes, rook c5, rook a7, rook a5. So even though black has a passed pawn here and he has a rook behind the passed pawn, and passed pawns are supposed to be good, here white has the pawn firmly blockaded, and really black can't do much to allow the pawn to advance, so therefore it becomes a weakness. And black tries to march his king to the queen side, so he starts off with king f8, rook b6, rook e8, so black's pieces are all tied up in the defense of the a pawn. And now white plays h4, and this, first of all, it stops black from expanding on the king side, and this also gives white more space on the king side, and he also opens the path up for his king to attack the black king side. King e7, king h2. And here, there's often this technique called the principle of two weaknesses, and black actually has two weaknesses in this position. The first one is his weak pawn on a6, and it is often said that one weakness isn't enough to win the game for the opposing player. But here black has a second weakness, which is his weak kingside pawns, and white's ability to exploit them with both his king and also his rooks. So here two weaknesses is too much, and Karpov has already judged this from probably from the time he traded off queens back on like 6 or 7 moves ago, and maybe even further back. I mean, it's not that difficult to judge that this is very much better for white. King e7, king g3, king c7, rook b2. So black comes to defend the king, probably to relieve one of his rooks, so one of his rooks can now move away. Rook b7, rook c5 check, king b8, rook a2. So white again stops the black pawn from advancing, and they continue to shuffle rooks around. Rook e7, king f4, white's king creeps closer, king b7, rook b2 check, king a7, rook c6. And here we see the purpose of white's rook shuffling, which is black is in the state of Zugzwang now, and probably the best try now is just to try to attack black's pawns, because his a6 pawn has been completely immobilized and white's king is dangerously close to the black king side. So rook h8, and now Karpov analyzes some tactical variations, and he judges that it is sound to play rook a2 in a tactical sense. And here black played a5. If rook takes h4 check, king g3 will transpose back to the game. So a5, rook takes a5 check, king moves away, rook a6, rook takes h4 check, king g3, rook h5. And now white is virtually a pawn up, because these doubled pawns here, they're really only worth one pawn. It's very difficult to create a passed pawn from those pawns, and white already has a protected passed pawn ready to move up. And now rook a7 check, king c6. And note that black doesn't lose a rook here, because the other black rook is actually pressuring the rook on a5, so black doesn't lose a rook here. Check. rook takes c7, rook g5 check, king h2, king takes a6. And now after rook takes f7, the king is too far away to defend the king side, and white has won an extra pawn. And black judges here that there's no longer any hope, especially against someone of Karpov's caliber. I mean, white's going to play rook f4 and probably win this pawn as well. So here, black resigned. Thanks for watching this video.